All right, Nick. Well, thank you so much for being on the Elite Agent Talk. I'm so excited to have you on here, man, because I've seen you from afar. I could tell that you're on the right track of becoming a superstar in this business, and really the reason, which I really want to get into in depth, is your social media presence and how you're using that to grow your business. But yeah, welcome.
Thanks for having me on, bro. I was just telling you before we started recording that I'm grateful to be on. I'm grateful to learn from some of the big dogs from you, and so it's. I guess I'm doing. To even be on this episode with you is it's telling me that I'm doing something right. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, you definitely are. It's because even though this is our first ever conversation, I feel like we already know how we think. And I think a lot of it of insurance and growth or any business is mindset. And just from what you put out there, just the content that you put out there is all positive and uplifting.
Absolutely.
So even without knowing your numbers and how long you've been in business or like your book or any of that information, I already know that it's just a matter of time that you're heading the right direction because the way we think is all alike.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I see you got that Mamba mentality. So
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, tell me a little bit about yourself first, Nick, before we talk about the social media, how it's helping you. But how'd you get started in the business, and where you're at? But take your time. Let me know how you got started.
yeah, for sure. So I started as an agent in 2016, November 2016. Prior to that, I was in banking. I was a banker for 7 years, and I was going to school to get my degree, business management. I really didn't know what the heck I wanted to do, and I just did know that I wanted to be a business owner. I've always been into like self development. I tried and fumbled at so many different businesses. Some of them were like network marketing businesses. Some of I tried getting into the current foreign currency trading, and I failed like at a lot of different things. But I think it's because I was all over the place. So I dialed in. I found myself. I quit banking cold turkey. I started working with one of my business clients at the time to go into business with him, and that failed miserably too. Only thing I had left to my name was my 401k that I had from the bank. It happened to be like 23,000 after taxes. It took 25,000 to start my agency at the time, and so I cashed it out and I borrowed from like a line of credit to make up the difference. And one of my really good friends was an Allstate agent, and he's probably one of the main reasons why I jumped into Allstate because I knew I would get some mentorship. He kind of blazed the trail for about a year and a half before me, and I saw his lifestyle. I was like, you know what, I kind of want that. Um, so yeah, so started in November 2016, and then we've scaled. We've gotten up to two offices now, and I'm not done yet. I'm actually trying to continue to even buy a potential third office, and that's where we're at, man. That's where we're at. And to like what you said, I mean, I've I feel like I've built my book off of just a lot of grit. I'm a sponge. I'm very coachable. I try to find out what everybody else is doing and try to make it my own. And and social media has been a huge part of our success. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, sounded like you pretty much put everything on this.
I did, yeah, for sure, man. Um, yeah, I didn't really have much to my name other than that 401k. I had like 3,000 in my bank account, but then that like all I ended up using all of that and started dipping into the red. But one of the things I'm proud of is that I finished school debt free. Like I was delivering pizzas. I was like doing anything it took to like make sure that I would get through without debt, um, at least for that degree. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no. That's a good start. I think sometimes getting out of school and then starting your career in debt, it's kind of hard, especially for a business owner path to,
oh, for sure.
so me too, I didn't use any debt to go through school, but that's because I went to a cheap school, but,
Yeah, no,
but
same here, bro.
you're right.
UNLV is not known for their academics. Let's just say that. So
Oh, is that where you went?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
Out here
cool.
in Vegas, I try to just do it as I wouldn't even take out a loan. Like I would literally use this line of credit that I had to pay for the semesters. And then I would just deliver pizzas and try to sell as much, bank products at the bank to try and like pay that off as I would go. And it took me 8 years to get my degree. Like I'm not smart. I'm just a very willing individual.
Yeah.
You got to know how like the best examples, like Tim Tebow, like wasn't really good at football, but he still won. He found ways to win. Like that's kind of like me. I'm just willing, bro.
Yeah. Sometimes just about persistency, so not
Yeah.
giving up and just, working every day and go towards that goal. So that's awesome. Now, were you always in Vegas growing up?
No, I was born and raised in San Diego, and then moved out here in about like sixth grade.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, but I've been in Vegas a long time, and I've had a lot of different like walks of life and like network, from like the community college to my banking days to delivering pizzas, working at the local mall selling sunglasses, and so I got to meet a lot of different people from every little walk of life, and I think because I didn't burn bridges and stuff like that, I stayed connected with people. I always just try to make friends, and with no alternative motives. Like I just try to make friends. I built a fitness brand out here, which is pretty cool. And that really expanded my network. And then all of that, like, kind of helped us here at the agency,
I bet. Just all about relationships, right? And just
relationships, facts. Yeah.
knowing people and taking care of people and, just having a genuine interest in helping people, I think is something I see that insurance agents do well in.
Yeah.
So
100%.
that's awesome. So what about your book size and like policy in force or staff count? Like anything you could share about where you're at right now?
Yeah. So right now I'm sitting at how many employees do I have right now? I don't even know how many employees. I think I have 12 right now.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Somebody, somebody was somebody didn't make it last week. Let's just say that. And
Changes every week, huh?
right. Yeah, it happens every week. But we're scratching at the door of a $5 million book.
Awesome.
And it's pretty
Wow.
cool because I remember when I first started, I think I was bragging about my buddy who got me into the industry. And I was telling them, like, on the bus on the way to training, they said, they were like, well, how big's your friend's book? And I'm like, I think he's grown to like 2 million in 2 years. And that person came from with a lot of experience, and they're like, wow, $1 million a year is like a really good pace. And so I'm super grateful because I wrote on this little note card right here. I'll show it to you. I wrote on this little note card here when I, like 5 years ago, and this is all old and rusted up. And I put that my business was going to be a $5 million book by August 31st, 2021. And it's crazy, dude. It's going to happen.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. So do you literally carry that with you everywhere?
Yeah. It's keep it in my wallet.
Yeah.
I try to, I keep my goals hung up here, every one of my offices. I used to laminate them, keep them in my shower. I just try to look at them every single day and just remind myself, what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Super goal oriented. That's what I've definitely noticed, from looking at your posts and watching your videos. But were you always like that, or did like content, like other people's content, help you become more like that, or do you think that's just how you were, or do you think you kind of seeked it and kind of turned into that more later on?
I've always seeked it because even I used to I illegally burned Tony Robbins CDs, like, and I literally like I would buy Success magazines back in the day when they used to keep the CD in the magazine, similar to like when there was the demos when you played video games like PlayStation, and they used to keep the little demo CDs in the magazines. But I would buy those Success magazines and just play them in my car while I was delivering pizzas.
Wow.
So I have, yeah. So I was just learning about I was always learning about things like leadership, sales, and just listening to all these interviews before it became so easy. Before it became so easy with our phones, I always was attracted to self-development. And, being a part of those network marketing businesses too, it's like, that's all they preach, Jim Rohn and all those people, the OGs. So I guess I've always been pretty goal oriented and and just attracted to content and self development. I've been pretty obsessed with it.
Yeah. Well, it's been working. So, 5 million in 5 years. Yeah, that's a great start. It's great to see you accomplish those goals, and that's something to be proud of. But yeah, let's talk about, you know, how consuming good social media or content out there helps you. But what about when it comes to your insurance agency? Because I'll tell you, I follow insurance agents. I'm in that community too. But when it comes to your stuff, it just stands out because I mean, some of the stuff you put out is just so funny, man. I got to give you props there. It's just it, it, it's challenging for insurance agents to think like, okay, what content we're going to put out.
Yeah,
Depending on your personality, if you could be a little more introverted or self-conscious, it's hard to put yourself out there too. I think a lot of the audience could relate to that, or maybe not used to that. But tell me about your journey about putting yourself out there, and maybe to get people to encourage other people to do more of that. What are
yeah.
some advice you could give to, like, kind of like, for me, I kind of had to get over myself, and still it's not natural for me to do something like this or post, as much as I still should do a lot more than I am right now. But tell me how it has helped and what your journey has when it comes as far as like putting out content yourself.
Yeah, for sure. uh, the One of the things I just knew going into, I mean, it might be because I'm millennial and I kind of grew up on Facebook and I grew up on just paying attention to what was going on. I listened to a lot of like Gary V. And there's one thing that he always preached is document. You don't really have to create content. You really just kind of got to document your journey. And so I knew coming into this that social media was going to be uh, a good strategy to have, even if it meant just me, just, I don't know, sharing a picture of the good hands, when I'm in training and just saying I'm up to something, you know, and then I documented my whole entire training in Chicago, and I brought my camera and I just recorded everything and I put together a little highlight reel of it, and I slapped some music on there, and I just at the very end of it I just put November 1st, which is the date that I'm opening my agency. And so I really kind of just try to make it like this story of what's going on in my life. And then I didn't realize this as I was doing it, but people love a story. People love people's journeys. They don't really like, so I tell new hires all the time when they start with me, you can make a post and just say, call me for a quote. I just started a new career at Allstate. Call me for a quote. Or you could say, hey guys, I'm so grateful and excited to announce that I just started my new career at Farmers or Allstate or insurance brokerage XYZ. And, this is a huge move for me and my family. I never thought I'd see myself in this industry, but I'm so happy and excited to be here. And it would mean the world to me if you allowed me the opportunity to quote you, as I start into this brand new journey. And of course, you're going to have the people that are going to love it and support it. And then you're going to have the other half of people that are just watching you. Then you're going to have the other half of people that are just going to be silent supporters / haters that aren't really going to do anything just to see what you do with it because they don't trust you yet in the industry. But there's two ways to make that post. It's like the one that's like making it a story and making it something that's like, oh wow, like congratulations, like I'm stoked. I'm stoked that you got started in a new industry after working at Chick-fil-A for 4 years. Or you could just be super bored and bland and just say, hey, call me for a quote. Like that's not going to work. Why do people like people like Kim Kardashian? Because like I watch her TV show and they got to get to know them, and they're walking you through the entire journey of their makeup lines, their clothing lines, whatever. Love them or hate them, they obviously throw in a bunch of drama. They show the highs, the lows, all that stuff. And then when they drop that makeup line or when they drop the clothing line, people jump all over it because they like showed the story to kind of get there. The Rock is somebody I admire and I really like. I just love, like, I'm just a huge wrestling fan, right? Just watching The Rock as a wrestler and watching his journey. The Rock is selling you on every post. he's selling you on something, right? He is the movie Jumanji comes out, and he's also promoting his tequila around the same time, and it's like me, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, we're doing a Terramana toast to the success of Jumanji 2. So he's literally like selling you two things in the same post. And I can see right through it, but he's so good at what he does. He's highlighted his journey every step of the way. He's humble and people don't realize it, but he's pitching you something, you
Right.
know?
But he pitches it in a way it's not salesy, but it's in a way he's telling a story.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think I 100% agree with that. It's like just share your story. I think as simple as that, and that's so much better and effective than get a quote from me.
Yeah. And the one thing that Rock, and I know this will add value to your listeners, is the one thing that The Rock is exceptional at, and I've done it multiple times just to see if I could, duplicate his, well, I could not duplicate, but let's see if I can get like a similar result as The Rock. He's not asking you to go watch his movies, right?
Right.
He is talking about the process of making the movie, how epic it was, how he had to dial into his training and do all this stuff. And then when the movie comes out, he he's always starting his videos off with gratitude, and he's like, I just want to thank you guys so much for making Jungle Book or Jungle Cruise, whatever the new movie he's just dropped is, and watch, he's going to do it. I just want to thank you guys, a huge package of gratitude from my family, my my family to yours, for making Jungle Cruise the number one movie in America. And so you're like, number one movie in America? I guess I got to watch this because like everybody else is watching it. So he just, instead of asking you, hey guys, go watch my movie, he's like, I just want to thank you for making this movie the number one this. I want to thank you for making Terramana Tequila the number one tequila in United States or whatever. He'll find something to be grateful for. The movie tanks it in America. He's like, thank you, China, for making it the number one movie. And, he's finding something like wherever that thing is having success, and he'll just blow that up and be grateful for it. And the way that that relates to our industry is, instead of me saying, hey guys, hit me up for a quote, which I do a lot of. If you follow me on social media, I
Every
remind
one,
people, hey guys, I sell insurance, call me for a quote.
every once in a while, you gotta do that.
Or you got to.
Yeah.
But also, more importantly, I gotta just say thank you to my,
Right.
for everyone that's been contacting me, thinking about me and the topic of insurance, referring me to their friends and family. I just want to take a second to just say thank you guys for sending me all these referrals. I'm so grateful. As you guys know, I'm a small business. This is a referral based type of business, and that business is the best. And I just want to say thank you guys so much, and just finding something to be grateful for, which is sometimes harder than it's really hard sometimes when you're driven and you're never where you want to be for the month, right? But I noticed that doing that actually will get a lot more love on social media than you saying, hey, call me for a quote.
Yeah. Because who doesn't want to be thanked?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel you on that. It's like it's hard to be sometimes to be grateful when you're unsatisfied, but it's just the right mindset to have. I feel so fortunate to be in the business that we are, and then anytime someone leaves a comment or supports you or buys a policy, then we want to thank them, and who doesn't want to be thanked? So I think that's a great strategy to have, is to like show appreciation to our audience when it comes to putting our content out there. So if anyone's watching right now, let's just, I really want to thank you for watching, taking a page out of your book. But yeah, that's something that I think
Smash
we could
that
all
like
relate to.
button. If you haven't yet, smash the like button.
And also sharing your story, I kind of want to go back to that. People, I bet in our situations, insurance agents, like, what am I going to post about? Just whatever you're going through. It's not
Yeah.
not call me for a quote. It's like a great way to get lose friends if you're doing that all the time. But if you're just like, hey, I was able to save somebody money, or hey, today, I worked a Saturday, or just showing that you're always available, you're working hard, you're about work, you're a professional, and just putting yourself out there, because what is there to hide? We're just
Yeah.
professional insurance agents that are looking to help people. We don't sell a product that's kind of like rip them off or hurt them. So I think it is. Well, but what do you think, Nick? As far as, was it easy for you to put yourself out there? Or does that come natural to you? Are you an extrovert, or because I
Yeah.
know there's other people. What are your thoughts when it comes to like, I know I should be posting more. I know I should be putting out more content, but it's just now that we know, hey, just share your story. But what any other advice to like get over,
Yeah.
that I don't know what it is. People just don't put out enough content. I feel like.
Yeah, and it's tough. It's tough without getting lost in social media land. It's tough because I try to hold my team. I don't force my team to be as extroverted as me. It does come natural to me to answer that question. If social media is not a part of their strategy, that's fine. You better get it done with the leads I'm buying. You better get it
Hmm.
done with mortgage partners. You better get it done, especially as it relates to like my team. If it's, I'm not going to force you to be an extrovert and to put out content. It's a really good strategy. I think it's needed, but I'm not going to force you to do that. But you better give me some numbers. Like you better sell. Like you better
Hmm.
be able to make something happen. If you're not going to use social media, and that's fine. But I'll tell you a story about, or I'll tell you what I would do if you're not sure where to start. I go with humor because our industry's so boring. I have to make it funny. And that's what catches people's attention. You either if you can either make people laugh or if you can entertain them or make them laugh or just really just be super educational, um, that's a good strategy. I think making people laugh and how boring our industries might be the best angle. But um, if what's it called? If you don't know where to start, just start with being positive.
Hmm.
Be that breath of fresh air on such a negative, like especially with everything that's happened in the last couple of years in the world. Start with being just extremely positive and just that aura of positivity of just post nothing but share nothing but positive and funny stuff, because every post doesn't have to be insurance related.
Hmm.
you know is if you're building a brand, just start with being positive. A former employee of mine who who went on to do really amazing things. Holy cow, he took what I taught him and he's doing I would argue he's even doing it better than me on Facebook. And I'm so
Wow.
proud of him. One of the things he does, he's built this brand on Facebook where he's with farmers, and so he gets to write a lot of commercial business. We don't focus on commercial too much with where we're at, but because we don't really have the appetite for it. But he's done such an exceptional job. And last I spoke with him, he doesn't even work internet leads anymore. He's just 100% referral based. And I'll give you his social media so you can take a gander at him. And he's a farmer's agent now. He has done an exceptional job of on social media. I think he just adds everybody that's in his state first and foremost. He goes out and I think he just foot prospects and visits businesses. He supports their businesses by buying their food, and he shouts them out on social media. He's like, I'm here at Bob's Burgers, and he takes a couple photos, makes a little video, and he just highlights every single one of these businesses. And I think that I'm not sure how he's probably getting the attention of the business owners somehow, some way, and they're letting him write their commercial. And obviously business owners know other business owners, so he's just this referral machine. And then I'm sure he's writing their personal lines too. One of the things he also does really, really well is he just likes and comments, and if he watches your Facebook story, he's hearting it. He just shows more love than I think
Hmm.
anybody. And
Wow.
so you don't know where to start. Just be the person that just shows love to everybody. Wish them happy birthdays. Comment on people's anniversaries. Comment on people's vacations. Like comment on their successes. I just got my realtor license. Congratulations! Oh my god! And he just adds more love than anybody. And I'm just watching him blow up before my eyes, and I can tell he's referral based only.
Wow. Yeah, that's great advice there. Just when it comes to, yeah, just put out positive content. Motivational stuff helps too. Just bring some type of value to the other person. Make them feel good. I
Absolutely.
think that's a great way of looking at social media. I think sometimes we try to take something from somebody where it's like, you know, give me your business, let me take that. It's rather like giving them and promoting other businesses and just trying to help somebody make their day better. And by giving, then, in return, you might get something back later. So I
Yep.
think that's a great strategy to just, And just overall, just work ethic, right? Just being
That
active.
too. That too. He brands himself, and I don't recommend this to just anybody, but he brands himself as like the 24/7 guy.
Mhm.
Your insurance agent. And and I know that I just kind of got him. I kind of exposed him to the social media stuff, but he just took it and ran with it. And I'm like looking at his face. I'm like, he gets more love than me now. Sheesh. so so it's all love there. I'm happy for him. And I use him as an example to my current staff. I'm like, look, guys, look what he's doing, like intense, so
Yeah, well, no, but you're very humble of sharing his story. But yeah, I think audience should check what you're doing out too, because you're active as anybody, and your content it makes you motivated, and that's bringing value to people. And I think the humor one, I think that's the hardest one, but the most effective one.
yeah, yeah,
And I will say I think a lot of people will get a little bit into entertain. Obviously that's difficult too, but obviously if you're good at that, and that's a huge value that you bring into other people. But the number three one, I think maybe a little bit overrated in our business, is the educational part, because
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
no one goes on social media to
Yeah,
learn about insurance.
exactly. No, and there's a you it's if like my video, I posted a video talking about umbrellas. I don't think it got much love, but my video where I got where I made a joke about like customers hanging up on us. There's a reel that I posted. That thing blew up like 12,000 hits, and but
Dang.
my umbrella video, right, got like 230 views. So the educational, it's if
Put them
if you
together
can
somehow,
put
right?
them all, yeah, put them
Yeah.
all together, it'll be a really good strategy.
Yeah, if it's educational, then it has to be like an entertaining part side to it too.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, you're bringing awareness, and if people don't know you, then they can't buy from you. So just then, tell me how it has led to business. Share some stories there.
How it has led to business. Um, Gosh, and this is the hard part because it's so hard to track and measure because it's
Yeah.
not like because one of the things that I'm not really fully doing, I think, to my maximum capability is like the Facebook ads and the targeting and I used to do a lot of ads, but instead I just do a lot of organic stuff and I try to connect with as many people here in person. Here's one thing. Here's one thing that I would say is that nothing. I don't think social media is ever going to replace that in-person connection that you can have with people. Because when you meet, because a lot of my business has come from somebody that I like have met at one point in time, or
Mhm.
it's a referral from somebody that I have met at one point in time, and they just keep watching my content, and then they it's all about being front of mind, and
Mhm.
so
Yep.
it's happening on a regular basis. I think my staff is spoiled in the sense that I know that my phones ring because of my posts and my consistency, and I try to get them on board with that same consistency of just, hey, every other day you need to remind people, hey, I sell insurance. Like, but obviously you don't want to do it in a spam way because they'll become numb to your content.
Mhm.
But um, but it goes down. I mean, it goes down in the DM or whatever, right? Like I check every once in a while, and there's people reaching out to me for a quote. Um, and I know that my phone's ringing. I'm getting to a point where I just tell everybody call my office, and I know that my staff is I'll look in our sales reports, and I see that of somebody that I know has been closed, and so I know it's working,
For
and
sure.
based off of my agency Zoom, there's a lot. A lot of our sales come from internet leads. Our sales come from personal referrals. Our sales comes from social media, and but social media and personal referrals are almost the same category
Right.
in a sense, and so that's our personal referrals is still our number two lead source. Number one is still internet leads and our kind of our other systems and processes with internet leads.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I think what's great with social media is that, this is our first time talking to each other, but we almost like know everything about each other already. You went to Costa Rica, a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
What kind of car you drive. Where what type of office you have. So it's just a great way for people to understand what you're about and who you are. And if people know you, then they feel a lot more comfortable doing business with you.
Right. Social media eliminates the amount of contacts that it normally takes, I think. So in other words,
Yeah.
like
It
another
also
way,
eliminates who are you.
yeah, exactly. Because
Like, do I trust you?
right. And there's that like there's these little like cards that you can have in your wallet or on the back of your phone. They're called like pop. And if you like slap it with somebody else's phone, then it automatically shares all your social media information with them. I've been meaning to make the investment to get all of my staff the little thing back here, so that way if they're ever out and about and they're networking or they're at dinner and the waitress is cool, and then I encourage people like don't even talk about what it is that you do. Nobody gives a crap, right? Like I sell insurance, like like they're gonna be like, okay, like they're gonna walk away from me, right? But if you just spend the whole time just trying to make a friend, and then and then let's just say you guys connect on social media, um, it's a matter of time before that person contacts you about an insurance quote. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
matter of time, like especially if you're consistent with your content,
Yep.
because they're gonna at some point there's gonna be a trigger where their rate went up or their agent ticks them off and things like that. So
Like
they're
buy something new. It's all about playing the long game and building a brand and being ready when they're ready.
yeah,
Because no one wants to be sold something at that moment when you want to sell them. They want to
absolutely.
buy when they need you. And I think you use a phrase like front of mind.
Be front of mind.
Yeah,
Yep.
front of mind. I think that's a great way to put it. I didn't know how to put it in words, but when they think of insurance, that you want to be the one they think of.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. And so the best way to do that is to constantly remind people. We're fortunate because I know that some companies aren't able to market the same way as like from what I understand, Farmers is pretty lax with it. Allstate's pretty lax with it. If I'm not mistaken, State Farm agents aren't allowed to promote themselves like that. And I do know a friend that just started a Geico, and they're not able to promote themselves like that. And she
Which
used to promote herself all day long.
which
So,
is the this it just doesn't make sense.
weird.
I
Yeah.
think the companies, I think the agents that use social media the best as a tool are the ones that are going to win the next 10, 20 years. But
Mhm.
I would say the companies that use social media the best the next 10, 20 years are the ones that are going to separate themselves too, because why are we allowed to have like a sign, a street sign, that says the company that we work for, but online we can't? Like, which is more, and you could argue that the online presence is more important than the physical presence nowadays.
Right.
So it's like, how strict are they? Like, they can't even say that the company they're working for, they're not able to say that. Like, I kind of like struggle with like, oh man, I wish I could use some the logos here and there. So I even feel like the rules should be a little bit more laxed. Um,
Yeah, I wish they would uh, be more lax with it, but I get it. I mean, they don't want you to associate, their brand um, with whatever. They don't want the liability of like what somebody does, and
yeah, there's a
so
yeah.
yeah,
But that's why it's so important to have a personal brand, right?
yeah. So, but you know what? Like, it's all about like I think social media is more important than having a billboard. What I did when Allstate paid for my billboard, I took a photo in front of it, like a selfie, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, guys! Like, guess what? I have a billboard. This is so freaking cool." And it wasn't even like a full billboard; it was like a shared billboard, and I just made sure that my head covered the other advertisement, and then I sponsored that post, and it was just like as almost I sponsored that post and then I ran that as an ad, and I got so much like engagement and I guess brand awareness from it. I don't know obviously how much sales came from it, but it's almost just that perception that, oh wow, Nick's successful, and maybe I should hit him up for insurance. So you know It certainly does help. And another thing that I still need to tap into, because I don't have enough mortgage partners and loan officer partners and realtor partners, because that's like really good business, is I need to make more friends with them. And then when they see me on social media, if I can connect with them in person and add value to them and or their teams or whatever, maybe even like just do like a social media course for them or just help them with their social media. I don't know. And become really good friends with them. And then they see me on social media all the time. I'm in their face. They're going to send all their clients to me. So that's something that I built like a handful of partnerships and we're getting mortgage referrals, but that's the next level for me is if I can build a whole arsenal full of mortgage officers and loan officers as friends, that business is the best business to write.
Yep. Yeah. That's a great strategy. I'm not sure if you should share that with everybody.
Hey,
No,
you,
but to bring value to them first, right? Like they need a
it's not
social media
it's
presence too. Like
it's
that
not
helps them.
it's not easy to build these, to build these partnerships with people. So I
Hmm.
mean, I think anybody can know about it. I think the actual like execution of it's another thing.
Yeah, but I think you're onto something where you want to help them first.
Yeah,
So I love that idea of like let me help them build up their social media presence and their branding online, and then if you help them, then they'll in return want to help you with referrals.
right,
I think that's a
exactly.
great way of looking at it. Is like what can you, in general, what can you do for somebody else first
Yeah,
instead of like
and,
let me
and
try to get referrals from them just for me.
right, and we obviously have to be careful because there's regulations on like because you can't like give. I mean, we used to be able to give like cutting boards, but I think that was like a HIPAA violation or something like that, and so we got to be careful. You can't. And to be honest, mortgage officers, loan officers, they don't really care about your gift cards. They don't care about your cutting boards. They don't care about none of that stuff. They just don't want you to ruin their deal.
Hmm.
Like just don't ruin my I have like $4,000 commission on the line here. Do not ruin my deal.
Yeah, I don't care about your
Yeah,
Starbucks gift card.
right. So, but finding ways to be of value to them, that's something I'm really really working on, and I would love to just be this like referral machine. You know,
Yeah,
I want to get off of internet leads as soon as possible.
yeah. You feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, I believe in internet leads. It's our biggest income and our biggest lead or you know it's our biggest lead source right now,
Hmm.
and where business is coming from. But I just hate I hate how often they're shopping. It's really hard to sell internet leads on value. It's possible, but it's harder.
Hmm.
Whereas you know we try, like our whole goal is to try and lead with liability and get people to have higher coverages, but sometimes internet leads, they don't care. They're
Hmm.
like, I need the cheapest deal.
Yeah,
Nope, hang up. So
yeah, yeah. And then also sometimes if you put yourself in your producer's shoes, your their perspective is like it's easier to sell a referral, than the grind of like calling out the internet leads all the time and like, all the rejection you have to face and all the hangoffs and stuff like that. So as a sustainable job, just, duty, having a different source of leads is a good idea too. Right.
yeah, I've always been well rounded. Now I'm not the top dog yet. Like, I look at the numbers you put up and I'm like, oh my goodness, like, please tell me it's coming, right? Like, it's coming, right? And we're on our way. I know we're on our way. Um, but I've always been open to not just one thing. Like I've kicked my staff out, like, go build partnerships. Like, go build partnerships. Like here's my corporate card, go and add value to the community. I get them to post on social media. We have a lead system and we have telemarketers, and we have I don't have it with me, but we have systems and processes that we've created, and on how to close these deals. Uh and so we're just trying to be open. I'm trying to be open and flexible in our approach. I'm always trying to learn from what the top dogs are doing, and trying to implement and create something. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I like when you say you're coachable and you really like to learn. What are some things that you learned that has changed, you know, um, that has helped you the most, you think, throughout these last 5 years?
Oh yeah, good question. So last year during what happened, I I had a bunch of candidates in my pipeline and what's it called? And I moved forward with them. And I was in the process of bringing on a lot of hiring and changing up to a brand new system of using telemarketers. I never had telemarketers before. So I was open to that. And that we had our best year ever last year. And then this year we're doing better than we did last year, which is good. But it's been just being keeping up with our processes and our things that work,
Mm-hmm.
but also being open to different things. And so the biggest thing that we've switched to this year is, last year, that whole telemarketing system that we implemented was one of my buddy's systems. And he really made it a focus to focus on like the benefits of specific companies. And so that way, when you arrive at the price, that you have a reason to be more expensive. I mean, we're trying to create value here, and that worked for last year. But at some point, I figured, being mentored, I'm being mentored by one of the top agents in our company in the country, and I'm spending a lot of money to get mentored by him. And I think it's worth it. And I'm surrounding myself. I'm going out to Alabama as many times as possible to learn from them and to go to as many, just to really just immerse myself from the top agents. And one of the things that we're switching to is, instead of focusing on the benefits of our company, we're really focused on trying to get people higher coverages
Mm-hmm.
and explaining why they need higher coverages. And then when we come out to be more, because we already know we're going to be more expensive. Like, we already know we are. Like no matter what, like, it's easy to convince somebody to sign up with you when you're cheaper. That's a layup.
Yeah,
But
or a machine could do that.
yeah, anybody could do that. Like, yeah, we're cheaper. Okay, sign me up. But it really takes skill when you're trying to sell on value. And so now we've really shifted our focus on explaining why people need higher coverages. And then when we come out to more, because we know we will, we say, yeah, of course we're more expensive. I'm surprised we're not 4 times more expensive, right? We're giving you 4 times the coverage. And so
Nice.
just and it's still uncomfortable. It's still like I'm trying to get everybody on board. We're constantly training, and just, as you know, I mean, you've built probably some really fine-tuned your processes and your systems over the last, I think you've been an agent for 12 years, right?
Yeah, 13. Well, yeah, 14 years this next month.
14
But
years.
you're right. It's just constantly tweaking on it, just changing things around
That's
constantly. It's trying to find improvements here, just like a little bit of something you say differently here, or after you get the sale, they get some different type of text. Just changing the wording around, or just changing things around all the time. I really like that, and I think what I agree with you, and I think what agents could get out of is just the open mindedness to try different things.
yeah. Because it's easy to get comfortable in, oh, this is working and that's working, and so yeah, just being open to learning from, just always having an open mind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and having the humility to want to learn from others too. I
absolutely.
think I wish I had a little bit more of that when I was at your stage, at fifth year or so, because I was like, oh, I got this. I don't have to ask anybody. I'll figure this out myself. But it would have been so much easier if I would have just asked somebody who knew what they were doing. But um, pride is not a good thing.
Yeah,
To have and not
right.
want to ask. The
Yeah.
mentorship, did you seek that out, or is that like a program that particular agent already had, or?
You know what? I I I have to say that if I have a superpower, it's that I do not. I know that I don't have it figured out. Like, I'm not. I don't think I'm. I don't think I got it all figured out. And I'm always just trying to just get around just the top agents and just become friends with them. And with social media, it's so much easier because successful people are willing to share.
Mhm.
That's the one thing about, like, very few times you're going to come across agents. I know there's some like hater agents out here in Vegas, but I'm cool with like most of them. But I really think what happened this year is when I signed up for that mentorship is there's Facebook groups, right?
Mhm.
There's probably Facebook groups for every company. And I've always been on this particular individual's training, his coaching program, at least to have access to his online modules and his training. It's his name's Craig Wiggins, for those of you guys that want to know. And um, and so I've always paid for to have access to that training, but I never really took it seriously. And one of the things that I went out to Alabama just a few times before I signed up for his mentorship. And I just got really cool with him. And one of the things that he always did was I have a cell phone number, and he always said, "Call me if you ever need anything." Before he ever, and he's like this to his entire Facebook group. It's like he's willing to give his cell phone number out. I mean, it's kind of crazy to me. I personally wouldn't give my cell phone number out like that, but he's always been available to me. Even before I signed up for his mentorship, and talk about value. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I think I'm outgrowing my friends out here and my peers, even my buddy that got me involved in the business. And it's not that I outgrew them. It's just that their focus shifted elsewhere. Right.
Mm-hmm.
They started focusing on other businesses and other things. And I'm taking this a lot more seriously than them. And I noticed that I want to continue my growth. I want to continue to get around people that are not just here in my state, but are all around the country. And so I've been able to do that. And that's it's going to pay off dividends in the future. I mean, like I said, I'm paying a lot of money to and I'm getting my money's worth. Let me tell you that, because if I have a question, anything and everything, I'm like, hey, hey, Craig, what would you do in this situation? So
That's so valuable, and that's such a great, I think that's such a great investment.
yeah,
I think I had to learn that the hard way, where I figured out that you actually become smarter when you realize you know less. So I think agents could learn a lot from that, to just pretend like you don't, and because we don't. I mean, there's so much more to learn, that once you open that up, where you kind of have the humility and let go of your ego of like, hey, I'm a business owner. No, you don't really know anything. That's when you actually could absorb the information and actually get so much more smarter. But yeah, that's something I'll look into. Craig Wiggins, I've heard about him. I mean, $40 million book of business. I think you pretty much know what you're doing at that point.
yeah, and yeah, and absolutely. I mean, and then to have a coaching business, like on the side where you're helping agents, and me, just the curious person that I am, like, I always I'm pretty sure you do this too. Like, if you walk into like a basketball game, right? You look at everybody that's in the crowd, and you're like, how many seats are here? They're charging $18 a beer, this. And so you just start looking into like all the math. It's just the kind of entrepreneurial spirit. You're like, huh. And I look at everything he's doing, and I'm just like, wow, like that's pretty astonishing. Like, even just the opportunities that he's creating for his staff, I'm like, I want to be able to do that. That so there's so many levels to this. There's so many levels to this. And I connected with an agent. I went to a mastermind, and it has nothing to do with insurance. It's just a mastermind. And one of the dudes walks in, and cool dude. I introduce myself. I shake his hand, and we connect later in the event. And I'm like, he's like, what do you do, man? I'm like, oh, I'm an insurance agent. I own a few Allstates, in Vegas. And he's just like, what? Get out of here. He's like, I own a bunch of Allstates in Texas. And I was like, what? Like, get out of here. And this guy is like a $32 million, $28 million book, I think, in Texas. Wow. Humble as can be. And he's like, I haven't opened up my email in over a year. I don't even manage that business anymore. I'm focused on my real estate flipping business. And I'm just like, dude, I had so many questions for him. I was like, I spent the entire mastermind, like, just, like, and I don't want to be too annoying, so I just kept it cool. But every time I was around him, I'm like, all right, Chris, I got a question for you. Like, so, and like, there's so many levels to this stuff. And even to meet someone like him, who he's providing opportunities where multiple staff that he has employed are making over six figures. And here he is, not even like involved in the business. Like, wow, what a place to get to.
And was he there to learn himself
Um,
there,
he was
or was
no,
he one of the?
he was there. I mean, it's a
He was
mastermind.
a presenter,
Uh,
or
uh, no, he wasn't even a presenter. He was just there as a spectator. But he's there to learn more about his. He's blowing up a real estate business,
yeah. So he's also at his level seeking information and trying to build new connections too.
a new business.
Yeah.
A completely different. And there's a lot of principles that are the same, but he's there focused on a completely different business. And to me, I'm just like, wow, there's so many levels to this.
That's what keeps
And
it really exciting too. When you're around and you hear, or if you have that much, if you're that close to someone at that level, then it really keeps you humbled, and then also like gets you excited of what our futures could look like.
absolutely. Yeah, just seeing I love the insurance industry, man. I mean, I talk about it all the time on my YouTube channel. Like this business is so perfect for, you know, I guess just creating the life that we want,
Hmm.
creating the life that we want. And it'll even give us options, later if we want to pivot into anything. Like, what do you want to pivot into? And so I think this industry is so perfect for that.
Yeah, it really is. We're so blessed. Yeah, to not have to open up your email, I can't imagine it. Like I'm sitting here, like for a full hour not open up my email. I'm just like, it's
Dude,
unnatural for me.
as he told me that, I had my laptop open and I'm like calculating payroll, and he tells me that, and I'm like, all right, I like close my laptop. Let me do this later. Like I can really learn something from this guy.
Yeah, he probably has like a general manager, or like someone who just is like his, like what we do. He has somebody, running it.
And I'm
Uh,
pretty sure it takes a long time to be able to attract those kind of people, and to
or
be able to
develop.
afford them,
Yeah,
develop,
yeah.
afford, and attract those type of people. And I know it's a matter of time. I know it's a matter of time before, I'm pretty sure the quality of talent that you're attracting now is night and day from the quality that you attracted 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, that's really where, the momentum does help. Because when you're brand new and you're like, "Hey, come work for me," like I just started my own business and I have, you're really the first person. That's a hard sell, you
Yeah.
know. But when you have some staff and they see your staff like, buying houses, and they're like, happy, and they are making a certain type of income, then it's a little bit easier because you have living proof that like, hey, you start your career here, then that could be an inspiration. That could be you. So there's living proof. So it does get easier to recruit as you go moving forward, and as long as you're bringing value to your current ones.
Yeah.
I think that is so true. And even still, it's hard. So I can't imagine if you're a brand new agent how hard it is to recruit.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a snowball effect,
Hmm.
for
What
sure.
what are because 12, that's a good size staff that you're managing. What are some things that has helped you recruit? What are your philosophies or any strategies you could share as far as just staffing and being a business owner and having people, on your team?
Yeah. I would say that some of my best employees have come from personal referrals from somebody that knew somebody. Um, a lot of times, my best staff are they're younger. They're younger and they're hungry. And like one of my guys, or two of my guys right now that are crushing it. One came from Chick-fil-A. Another one came. He's crushing it. This is his second month. He has like 20. He's leading the way this month. He has like
Wow.
26K. Um, and we're having a bad month, by the way. And he came from Raising Cane's. He happened to be a friend of mine. He was my manager when I was at the bank, and it happens to be his son
Okay.
that came to work for me. And so I know that some of my best employees have come from people just in my referral network, but if you are looking to hire multiple employees, a company that my buddy started, he grew to be a $20 million agent in New York somewhere, and he sold all his agencies, and I think he went to go 10x into real estate, and his hiring company
Team hired.
team hired
Yeah, yeah.
Dave Williams. If you
Hmm.
haven't got him on your show yet, make sure you get him on there. He's
Okay.
really cool dude, and I can connect if you want.
No, yeah, I think I follow. I do follow him.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I've heard great things, and I use Team Hire too.
team
Um,
hire, it's amazing.
hmm. Yep, definitely.
Wow. So
But
so it's cool that even you know about him.
oh yeah, for sure. Um, but I think we haven't even touched about this. The benefits of social media too, but helps with the recruiting too, right?
It does. It does. It indirectly helps, because I can't say that I've gotten like a resume from social media, but just putting that information out there, the word travels, and somebody will reach out to me and, hey, I heard you were hiring. So it is that trigger back to that, like it's when somebody triggers, like let's just say somebody reaches out to their cousin and they're like, hey, I'm about to quit my job, and anywhere hiring. You know what? I do think my buddy Nick's hiring. Let me see if he's still hiring. And so, it doesn't usually happen like right away, but it does help
Yeah,
100%.
a lot of things with social media. I think that's what may have agents not stay consistent on it, is because the return of it is really hard to measure.
It's hard to measure 100%.
I
But
think that's what a lot of times people stop not being consistent with it, because it's like, well, how many sales did I get off 10 posts that I spent my time doing? Well, maybe not nothing, but maybe you did. You don't even know,
right. The
but
only proof that I need, Dan, is that people all day long are like this,
yeah,
myself included. Like I get, you know, that's the only proof that you need, that
yep,
it's worth putting out content.
that's
And
where the attention is.
one of the things that this is crazy too, because I already know that you're all probably, because you've been in the YouTube game longer than me. One of the things that I'm noticing is that I'm getting people following me from all over the country, asking me questions, and just grateful for the content that I'm putting out on YouTube. And what's it called? And somebody even reached out to me, and he's like, he's like, I live in California. I'm moving to Vegas. I'm driven. I'm this. I'm that. I'm this. I'm that. I write my goals out. And he's like, he's kind of like, telling me everything I want to hear. And I'm like, you know what? When you move to Vegas, send me your resume. I'll interview you. And so even like YouTube is, I know that YouTube is going to create, it's going to attract better quality people to my agency.
Yeah, YouTube is a whole nother level of social media, because then they really get to know you. There's one
Mhm.
thing about, like, okay, seeing a picture, or like seeing some short stories and things like that, but yeah, YouTube has been a powerful uh, tool, but that takes another form of commitment, which
Yeah,
I need to really get
yeah,
into. But you're really consistent with that. What helps you stay do you write down, like, hey, or do you have like, hey, I got to put out a certain number of videos, like a week or a month, or like, what are,
yeah.
like, even the posts or the stories, like, do you have like quotas for yourself, or you just do it whenever you have time, or how do you
I
go about it?
I I do. I don't really have a life right now. I don't have kids, so I don't have kids yet.
I saw you in Costa Rica. I'm pretty I'm sure you're, yeah, having a good time.
I definitely try to, like, I take time off. I mean, I take time off. God, you hit me with some fire the other day. You were like, you said, when you're not 100% all in, it's probably time to take a break. If you're not 100%, sold on going all in, then it probably means you need a break. You told me something along those
Oh
lines.
yeah, because you posted like, I'm halfway between going all in and taking a vacation or something like that.
Yeah,
You're like torn.
yeah. I was like burnt out, and
Yeah.
and that really stuck with me.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
And and what's it called? But how I'm able to do it is I'm using my Sundays to just film content, and I'm just filming 2 to 3 videos on a Sunday, and then I'm just dropping it during the week. I'm paying a videographer pretty well to help me with getting the content ready, but I still haven't fully scaled it. It is a whole business in itself. Like, I need to, like, even bring somebody else on to do my content for me, to post it and to put the descriptions and all that jazz. Um, So I'm still trying to figure out that business and how to scale that. But I did make it a goal at the beginning of the year. I'll show you right here is I have, you know, uh, personal goal, spiritual, Allstate, YouTube and my brand, and then just a bunch of other random miscellaneous things. But I wrote it all down and I made it a goal to drop 3 videos a week. And I'm behind on that goal because I've only been able to drop like one, maybe two a week. So I'm still scaling and trying to get there. But I started. That's the most important thing, and I'm starting to see it snowball, which is really really cool. Because it's discouraging. It's
Mhm.
discouraging at first, just like with any business.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's consistent though. Even one a week, or two. That's great. I think I need to start doing that more. Because I see the benefits of my business, and how it helps. So putting out more content is great. And I think one of the things that's so similar is that when you put out a video, it's like doing like, or one post is like doing like literally like one push up.
Yeah,
And you just have to keep doing it every day, until you get the results. And I think that's one thing that I know agents kind of like get to a point where they try it and it's like, oh, nothing's happening. Let me just
yeah,
stop,
yeah.
you know?
That's when it's hardest, and you got to dig deep. I do know that the YouTube algorithm rewards consistency, and it rewards very niche things. Like if you look at my YouTube channel, I post about like so many random things, but I'm starting to realize that insurance is my niche. Uh, and like, because I've dropped videos on like what to say in an interview that bombed, right? I did a video on how to fire someone that bombed.
Really?
What yeah,
Huh.
what I'm noticing is that YouTube is very fifth grade level, like dumb the content down to fifth grade level stuff. And so and what I'm noticing that like my top two performing videos are how I started my insurance agency, how I grew to 4 million in 4 years, and then also how to pass the property and casualty test.
Mm,
Another one that's taking off right now is getting started in getting started as a PNC insurance agent. Here's what to expect. So it's very like entry level people, entry level audience. There's not like I even like the content because I'm also dropping like insurance agent content, but that's even might even be too niche where that audience isn't even on YouTube yet. They're still on Facebook, if that makes
mhm,
sense.
mhm.
Like you know, so I'm noticing that it's pretty, I guess, people, just younger people. That's how they consume content. It's through video format. But here's the good news for us, especially because I see the content you drop and your stuff's really, really good, is that eventually 5, 10, 15 years from now, all these younger people are going to be older and insurance agents, maybe like they might have their own agencies. And so the demographics only going to get bigger and bigger, I think,
Yeah.
on the YouTube space. There's going to be more people. There's not too many people like as pioneers in the insurance space, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah. We're
there's Cody Askins, he's crushing it. I saw that he interviewed you. Um, and there's like that's it. That's it. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So
He dominates. We're we're a little behind. Let's just put it that way. The
yeah,
insurance industry as a whole, the power of social media, we're a little behind. I think part of it is because we're so blessed to have residuals. So some businesses where they need a sale to survive, they adapt a little bit faster. So we're adapting a little bit slower because we already have residuals coming in, and we're kind of like could be a little bit sometimes satisfied.
yeah,
So but it's definitely a tool that is going to help us grow, especially the newer generation. We're so used to finding out information online, looking up reviews online, and getting really all information online is really where people are going to go to and make decisions, buying decisions. But back to your YouTube channel, I think what I want to acknowledge you is that you try so many different things, and
yeah,
that's how you find out. And I think that's what
yeah,
I want to encourage other people to do too, is like tell your story, and by trying different things, you're gonna see what the market will decide what they like.
Right. 100%. Yeah, 100%. And yeah, it's just a matter of time before, like, growing our insurance agency was the same level of difficulty, and just, just a lot of work, that you don't like, but it snowballs. It snowballs, and it turns, like I said, I mean, the cool thing about YouTube is that YouTube will keep pushing specific content, whereas our Facebooks and our Instagrams, it all gets buried. It gets
Hmm.
buried. Whereas YouTube, it stays relevant. So it's
Right.
it's really, really cool.
Yeah, and if you are searching something similar, then they'll suggest an old video of yours.
Yeah,
The suggestion is really powerful, where you'll come up later on if someone's looking for insurance stuff, and then this video could show up 2 years later if someone's like watching, looking for a podcast insurance related. So the suggestion, I think, method of how it shares things, I think, is really powerful too.
yeah, yeah, and everything just eventually, just consistency just pays off. I mean, it happened with the insurance agency, like really like 2 years of like grinding, and I finally was like, I could take a vacation. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, this thing runs without me sometimes. Sometimes.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, you got 12 staff, so yeah, you're definitely on the right track. But what's next for you, Nick? I know you already had it written down, but share us a little bit about your ambition and your goals for the agency and other things.
Yeah. So right now I'm in the process of, I'm trying to buy this guy's $5 million book, which would put me at 10 million. So I'm really, really, I mean, I'm stupid. Like, I don't know why. I still haven't fully mastered these two, but I'm a man of faith. Like, God has delivered every single time I put myself. I get bored, with like,
Hmm.
just, I got bored with my first agency, and I was like, I need to run a second one. I opened the second one. I'm like, why the heck did I do this? I'm so stupid. This is the dumbest thing I could have possibly have done. Like, and then I lost like most of my staff. And then, but I love the challenge of like starting something from scratch, and then like building it, and just repeating, that cycle. So the goal is to get my agencies to at least 20 million in premium. um I have so much, dude. Like, I have a fitness brand called Barbells and Briefcases. I want to eventually build out like this like ginormous warehouse gym slash digital marketing area room, podcast room, and then, sell our apparel and have that kind of scaled. Um, and I just want to invest in a bunch of real estate, and, at some point just be wildly successful to be able to be a public speaker and talk about it all. So, and get paid, like, hey, Nick, we'll pay you 40 grand to come out to Australia to speak to our organization. I'm like, I'll do it for free. Let's do this. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that'd be really, really cool to be able to do that someday. But I know it all starts with this foundation, and I just gotta you know, just keep doing the boring stuff.
Yeah, keep grinding it out.
Yeah,
Sometimes it seems boring, but the results aren't.
the
So
results totally aren't.
so that's what I remind myself, where it's like, man, this is so the same thing, boring. Insurance. I just like, it's not exciting. Well, it's not, that part's not fun, but the getting the results part is fun. So
It's
that's
totally fun.
but that's awesome, man. You're an inspiration, dude. To have goals like that written down, because you could say it like that. It's so much clarity in what your vision is. I
Yeah,
think I think we need a little bit more of that in our business. We need a little more bigger thinkers, rather than, hey, I just want to have live off the residuals and just cruise. Hey, let's go bigger. This business, there's so much potential, and especially with technology. And if you could leverage that wisely, I think everything you said, it's it's doable. And I feel like we're not fair to ourselves if we don't give ourselves the opportunity to go after it. So keep sharing that message online. If you're not following Nick, then you should, because I daily check out your stories and see what you're posting, and get a little motivation, and you bring in value to me too. So I know you're going to help out a lot of other agents too. So Thank you so much for your time, Nick. I think this is great. I want more agents to use social media to grow their businesses and to think, connect with bigger thinkers and motivated people like us. So I'm really thankful that of all the knowledge you shared, and looking forward to keep in touch with you and witnessing you accomplish your goals, man.
Dan the man, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
All right, let's get it. I'll keep in touch.
All right, sounds
All
good.
right, thanks, Nick.